Today we continue on with our NHL draft review and prospect pool analysis, and we're looking at the New Jersey Devils. We'll discuss that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're continuing on with our new series here, reviewing all of the 2022 NHL draft choices, as well as the prospect pools for these teams as well. So today we're going to analyze the Devils, who had the number 2 pick at the 2022 NHL draft. So we'll start by taking a look at all of their selections, take a little bit of a summary first, then we'll kind of look at a deeper dive onto a little bit more on each player, and then we're going to look at what else they have in their prospect pool that's up and coming here over the next couple of years. They already have a very young roster. They've already had a lot of their top, you could almost call them former prospects, already graduate to the main team. And now we'll see what else is coming down the pipes here. So I'll jump onto the computer to complete the rest of the analysis. So here we are with the Devils draft summary for the 22 entry draft. Of course, they made 8 selections. Of course, a couple defensemen early, a goalie, a couple more defensemen. You can see a trend here. A couple forwards, and then, one more D. So they certainly had the kind of draft where they appeared to be loading up on the back end. Of course, not a big surprise considering that the Devils already have a pretty dynamic group of young forwards already on their roster, with a couple more of those players that fit that bill already on the way. Of course, their first selection, number 2 overall, they take a top defenseman in the draft, right shot D, Simon Nemec. Of course, 18 years of old, from Slovakia. Certainly a player that has a ton of potential, is viewed upon as being a top pair right shot D in the future. Last season in Slovakia, put up 26 points in 39 games, had opportunities to play internationally as well, and did a great job. Obviously in his league playoffs over there, put up 17 points in 19 games. There was a lot of talk about this pick maybe being traded for a high-profile player. At this point, the Devils are probably happy that they were able to grab this young defenseman with the selection. Now, next up, they took another D, Seamus, another right shot defenseman. This one's a U.S.-born player, born in Miami, Florida. Smaller in size, 5'9", 162, taking 46 overall here, playing for the United States national team. In the USHL last year, put up 13 points in 17 games. Obviously, this guy is looked upon as being a pretty offensive D. I think the only reason he slipped lower in the draft, probably again because of his size. Still, some teams a little bit nervous on smaller defensemen, but he looks like he could be a really, a prototypical new age defenseman in the NHL who's smaller, but between the skating, puck moving, and everything, could be a real solid addition. Their third pick of the draft in round 4, 102nd overall, they take a goalie, Ty Brennan, who's born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba, 18 years old, 6'4", 184 pounds, so certainly has good size for an NHL goalie. Been playing in the Western Hockey League for the Prince George Cougars lately. Put himself up a pretty good season, actually. Played pretty well. Had some chance to play in the playoffs as well. And sometimes you got to look at the save percentage and stuff. Sometimes in junior, there's a lot of high-scoring games. So it's not something you want to put a lot of emphasis on. Obviously, the Devils feel like he's got a lot of potential, and we'll see where this goes. He still has a couple more years of junior before making the jump to pro hockey. Next up, they took Daniil Orlov, of course, a left shot defenseman, Russian-born, 6'2", 180 pounds. Played this past year in the Russian league, the MHL, where he put up 30 points in 54 games, which is actually a pretty good result. So a 4th-round pick, Russian defenseman. Of course, some of these players, you really don't know how long you're going to have to wait to bring them over to North America and have a chance to be playing in your league. But the good news is he's playing at a high level over there as well. Might be a few years, but a good selection. Next up, they took another right shot D, Charlie Leddy, 18 years old, U.S.-born D from Fairfield, Connecticut, 6'1", 184 pounds. Drafted 126 overall with another 4th-round selection that they had. Another player from the U.S. national development team. Doesn't appear to be as offensively gifted as a guy like Seamus, for example, but still somebody who can be defensively responsible. Put up 7 assists in 26 games this past year and only 6 points in 30 games the year before. Peter Hauser was our next selection here in the 5th round, 141st overall. A right shot winger from the Czech Republic. 18 years of age, 6'3", 200 pounds. Obviously, at this point, Hockey DB here with their draft analysis doesn't really have much data on this player, but certainly a forward to add to the mix here amongst all these defensemen they drafted here in 2022. Their next selection in round 6, 166 overall, with Josh Fillman, left shot winger, born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, 6'2", 160 pounds, so certainly could use a little bit more muscle on the frame for sure, I think, to have a better chance of making the NHL, but certainly somebody who appears to be pretty good offensively here. He's 45 points in 67 games for Swift Current in the Western Hockey League this past year, including 23 goals. Give him another couple of years of junior to see how he develops, but could possibly be a late-round steal. They also took Artem Barabosha, right shot defenseman out of Russia, 6'3", 189. Of course, not much data here on the player, but certainly, again, like I mentioned about his fellow countrymen they selected earlier, you never know how long you're going to have to wait to really get a good chance to bring the player over. So with a late-round selection, why not take a chance if your scouting department is confident that they're going to be a good chance of being a player. We're going to take a look at the rest of their prospect pool from previous drafts. Starting with the goalie position, we have Nico Dawes, now 21 years of age, Canadian goalie, but was born actually in Germany. Has been playing now in Utica after playing for a number of seasons for the Guelph Storm in the Ontario Hockey League. His early numbers in Utica, at least for the 21-22 season, regular season, was actually pretty good. Playoff numbers weren't quite as solid. Did have a chance to play at the NHL level as well. Didn't do terribly well, but then again, you're playing on a weaker team. Really hard to tell at a young age like that. But I think they still have a ton of confidence in him to be the goaltender of the future down the road. But he's certainly going to need a couple more years of development first. Of course, Luke Hughes, one of their top prospects overall here, left shot defenseman. Of course, comes from the famous Hughes brothers. Of course, brothers Quinn and Jack already in the NHL. 6'2", 184, playing at the University of Michigan. Will play at least one more college season before making the jump to pro hockey. But he had a phenomenal year at Michigan last year, putting up 39 points in 41 games. Before that, of course, he was part of the U.S. national development team. So a real solid player for the Devils, and certainly, like I said on the thumbnail here, along with Simon Nemec, could be your future top pair on the defense. They also have Shakir Mahuka-Madulin, of course, another left shot D, 20 years of age, 6'3", 194 pounds. Made the jump and played a little bit last year at the end of it in the playoffs for the American Hockey League Utica Comets. Prior to that, of course, was playing in Russia for the KHL. So obviously, Mahuka-Madulin, still another defenseman here who's got some potential, has got the size and the strength, just a matter of getting used to the North American game. I do see him as being a potential second pair defenseman. Of course, we have Alexander Holtz as well, former first-round pick in the 2020 draft, right shot winger, 6 feet tall, 192 pounds, has the potential to be a pure sniper. Of course, last year he got a little bit of a taste of North America, of course, participating in New Jersey as well as Utica. The year before, he did come over and play games at the end for Binghamton as well. But 9 games with the NHL club, he put up 2 assists. Playing in Utica, though, he put up 26 goals and was just shy of being a point-per-game player at the American Hockey League. To me, that's a good chance. I think we might even see him on the roster as early as the coming season here for 22-23, if not the year after for sure. At the very least, he's getting more NHL games this year than he did last. Next up, we have Chase Stillman, of course, another winger, shoots right, 6'1", 181 pounds, was a 2021 first-round pick, number 29 overall. Of course, the Devils had multiple first-rounders that year. Of course, playing in the Ontario Hockey League. Last year, he split his season between the Sudbury Wolves and the Peterborough Petes, of course, being traded partway through his junior season. Had 20 points in 24 games for Sudbury. Went on to put up 29 points in 35 games for Peterborough. Unfortunately, had an early playoff exit with the Petes, but overall a solid season. Of course, we still have Tyce Thompson as well, another winger. He's now 23, born in Calgary. Obviously, he has decent size here, 6'1", 175. Had a chance to play a few NHL games in the past couple years, as well as play some time in the American Hockey League after completing his college career at Providence College in Hockey East. Obviously, his limited pro hockey action so far does seem to suggest that he will translate well, put up some good numbers in Utica last year, and obviously has an opportunity here to play more with the Devils in the coming season. Hard to say if he'll be on the roster out of training camp or not, but he's a little bit older after playing longer in college hockey, but still, to me, looks like a promising prospect for the Devils. And also here we want to take a look at Graham Clark, another right shot forward. They have lots of these in their system here. American born, 21 years of age, 6 feet tall, 175 pounds. was a 2019 NHL draft selection in the third round, number 80th overall. Last year had an opportunity to play a fuller campaign for the Utica Comets, putting up 24 points in 52 games. Of course, before that, he did play part of the season before at the AHL level, putting up 18 points in 31 games for Binghamton. Of course, their AHL affiliate had changed this season before, but another potential promising player here for New Jersey. So that is my complete analysis here for the 2022 drafted players by the Devils, as well as the remaining players in their prospect pool. Of course, as always, I want to know what you think as well, so let me know your long-term outlook for the future of this team, and stay tuned here for the next team coming up in this series. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis on all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.